Downer. He's a social studies teacher in the Gwinnett County Public Schools. So, Anthony, thank you so much just for being an educator, and thank you for joining me. I understand that the students will start the fall term next week from home, but I know teachers, you all are already in the classroom to plan, and then students will be joining in class at the end of the month. Tell me why and
to
what
be
you're
honest, under this current plan, it hit us with the shock. To be honest, we knew that we were going to be going digital after a while.
Your administration directed federal agencies to end racial sensitivity training that addresses white privilege or critical race theory. Why did you decide to do that, to end racial sensitivity training? And do you believe that there is systemic racism in this country, sir?
I ended it because it's racist. I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane, that it was a radical revolution that was taking place in our military, in our schools, all over the place, and you know it, and so does everybody else. And he would know.
What is radical about racial sensitivity training, sir?
If you were a certain person, you had no status in life. It was sort of a reversal. And if you look at the people, we were paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach very bad ideas and frankly, very sick ideas. And really, they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen.
What was your experience teaching during COVID-19?
It was like living in an alternate universe.
My mom was medically fragile, and I knew that going back into the classroom would mean that I would not be able to see her. Having to go to school face-to-face was very difficult for me.
Teaching during a global pandemic was probably the most fearful things that I've ever done.
Because I felt that it was not a safe situation at any given time, even with the measures that were put into place in our school district.
This felt like a bomb had dropped on us, and we were just not prepared, and we were in constant panic mode every single day.
Speak your truth. Tell the world one thing you want them to know about your experience teaching during racial upheaval surrounding police brutality in the midst of a global pandemic.
Yes, so as a Black woman, I'm sitting at the edge of intersectionality. I'm sitting at the margins. And so I have always dealt with microaggressions.
I'm a Black man first. That's where a lot of my teaching comes from. And while I tried to care for my community, my students during this racial upheaval, during this social unrest, I had to take care of myself first.
I have always dealt with racism. And so to see my students actually have to realistically go through the things that I have gone through, are starting to realize that their eyes are opening up. It was almost as if I was looking at myself as a younger version. And so to be honest, it was horrifying.
It was very difficult. But I also want people to know that this burden can't fall on teachers. No matter how foundational schools and education are, it is going to take community coalitions to push forward our country and our world past the current issues that we have. It's all of us together or none of us at all.
What is your definition of an abolitionist educator, and what do you need to assist you in that position?
My definition for an abolitionist educator would be breaking down these walls that are currently in our education system. So I want to see an opportunity for educators to be able to have free conversation, free thought, able to talk to our students about things that not only are inside of the standards, but are also affecting their lives. Because there's so much more to what I do than trying to get my students to pass a test at the end of the year. There's so much more to them than the intellect that they bring or what score they get on a test. So ultimately, I'm looking to drive education into a new sphere where there's no limitations on what we're able to grasp and what we're able to tackle.
To have the proper tools to be the abolitionist educator, you need to have people on your side. Now, people say that they want educators to be to be full of equity, but from what I've seen in the past and what I'm currently seeing is that you don't want that. These school districts do not want teachers that are going to speak up on behalf of their students because it makes the district look bad. So what the district needs to do is the district needs to go back and realize, what exactly do you want? Do you want students or teachers to step up for these students? And if so, what does it look like to make sure that you bite your tongue and you allow for abolitionist educators to do their work? We need support.
In your opinion, what can the school or district do better to help serve educators?
Schools and districts have to bring educators to the decision-making table. They have to give them more power and more voice, more recognition, and more platforms.
This year we saw a complete breakdown in flexible thinking. I think we missed an opportunity to rethink how we do education.
They have to be treated like professionals, because classrooms, student success, the entire education system cannot work without teachers. It can work with an interim superintendent. It can work without a board member or two. We can't work without the teachers, the frontline workers and organizers at the table.
Just an extra ounce of grace and humanity with each other, just an extra ounce of flexibility. But on a larger structural level, we really missed an opportunity to just rethink how we could do schools. And this would have been a great year for that.
How well are you able to prioritize your mental health and wellness as an educator, particularly during such a social traumatic time?
Not. There was this meme that went around and it said, "Don't forget self-care." I was angry at it because I was like, I'm not even doing self-maintenance. Self-care. Sometimes I forget my daily medicine and it's important. I have to take seizure medication and I'm forgetting it because I'm barely functioning. This year was horrible. Trying to function day to day was really hard. Trying to face hate. And this is, of course, me as a privileged person on a regular. I'm middle class and white. I can't imagine if you were intersectionally hated this year. I can't imagine what it was like. No, this year was bad.